Welcome back to the second part of Team Guides. Make sure you watch the first part that went up yesterday and let's get to the teams. The Cyan Coyotes. The Cyan Coyotes gives us the Sapnap and Seapeekay duo, who previously got to dodgeball in MCC 14 and were meant to play together in MCC 20, but this was unfortunately unable to happen due to Sapnap's ear infection. Joining them are two highly awaited players. One is Kurtic Zeus, the first time that a simmer has gone solo. He's been on his training arc for the past 5 months, playing a lot of Minecraft, especially CubeCraft Skywars. Rounding out this team is the only true newcomer to the event this time round, being Snifferish, so we've decided to use Michael McChill's stats for them. This is a team full of anticipated duos and players, so it's great to see them all together. This team's strength definitely lies in their PvP games. They are one of 3 teams to do above average in survival games. They have some incredible BattleBox players, and they are the #1 team for Sky Battle. This shouldn't be surprising considering that Sapnap was our pick for the #1 PvP player in MCC, doing insane in every game. However, the rest of the team also do solidly, with Seapeekay never dropping top 17 in Sky Battle, and having gone in first place in MCC 12 BattleBox. And in Zeus's case, BattleBox is the simmer's signature game. Although we don't have stats for Snifferish specifically, the PvP games in MCC are the easiest ones to learn as they don't usually have new mechanics, so it's a safe bet to expect them to do better in these games than others. Getting PvP games late is key for the Cyan Coyotes to get into dodgeball. The player to watch on this team is definitely Zeus. He's only been on a competitive team once before in MCC 17, and he was able to get to dodgeball with a very respectable placement of 25th. However, he's only been practicing more since then, and has also shown a lot of promise prior to MCC 17. In MCC 13 for example, he got 17th in Ace Race and 14th in Rocket Spleef, some really good performances. Zeus can absolutely shatter all expectations and get a really solid placement, and might be this team's secret to success. While the distributions for this team at first glance don't look as good as other teams, it's important to remember that Zeus's average is heavily distorted by almost always teaming with the simmers, and we also don't know how Sniff will do for their first event. This is why it's especially impressive that they can still get into dodgeball, even with these factors working against them. They do need to be careful about their game order though. They are the worst team in 3 games, and if any of Sands of Time, Parkour Tag or Grid Runners are played later than game 3, then according to the simulation, there is only one game order where they can make dodgeball. With a player who might fly under the radar and a newcomer with a lot of potential, Cyan are definitely in the running for dodgeball. The Aqua Axolotls. Our first ever team with all 4 people being Season 2 newcomers, the Aqua Axolotls consists of a few returning players. First up is Antfrost, coming off a win and his best event yet, getting an incredible 4th individual placement. Joining him is BadBoyHalo, who hasn't been in a canon event since MCC 16, where he also won, getting a convincing placement of 16th on a very underrated team. Another player joining after missing a couple of events is Gianelli. She's the only participant to currently have an 100% dodgeball rate after a great first event in MCC 18. Finally, there's JoJo Solos. After winning Rising and competing in All-Stars, she's finally here with a canon event. Will she replicate her incredible performances in those events? We've decided to use SB stats for her, as Rising and All-Stars are non-canon. We can't talk about this team without talking about Sands of Time. They possibly have the highest average out of any team for any game in any MCC we've seen. Antfrost, BadBoyHalo and Gianelli are all in the top 5 for average Sands of Time scores, and since we use SB for JoJo, she also has a very high average. This is definitely inflated. Bad and G have only had 1 event, and then they had very good Sands of Time teams. That doesn't change the fact that G was still a brilliant Soundkeeper, and that Bad did good on his own in both MCC 16 and All-Stars. This team has a serious potential in Sands of Time, and if it's played as the finale like it often is, the chances at dodgeball increase by almost 50%. In addition to already being good Sands of Time players, you can bet that Ant will encourage all of them to VOD review and become even better. If Aqua wants to do well, JoJo having a good performance is vital. Fortunately, she already has a lot of experience with MCC, playing every game in the current rotation at least once, with the exception of Rocket Spleef Rush. This puts her in a rather unique position, as technically she's a newcomer since this is her first time playing in a canon event, but we already have a good idea of how she can perform and what her strengths are. For example, she seems to be undeniably strong at movement games, which is why we chose SB for her, while struggling in all of the team-based games and a couple of the PvP games. Although she's only played each PvP game once, JoJo can definitely place in the top 10, as she's got extremely close in All-Stars, which had a bunch of incredibly strong participants and teams. She has a lot of potential and is the key to Aqua getting into dodgeball and possibly winning it too. This team can realistically place anywhere, with their distributions being the most spread out of any team. While their most likely placement is 9th, they have practically the same probability of coming first, and they make it into dodgeball over 20% of the time. But each player has shown how well they can do, and so a surprise dodgeball that Bad and G have both pulled off in the past is definitely a possibility. If you're liking the video, please subscribe. We make a lot of cool content like this that we think you'll also enjoy. The Blue Bats. The Blue Bats is a very balanced all-round team with members who can all surpass expectations. While the only MCC Purple has played in was the last event, his debut surpassed Illuminers and has already shown incredible skill in movement games. Joining him is 5UP, who has an incredible performance in MCC 20, never leaving the top 10 for the entire tournament, and ended up taking the crown with an incredible 8th place individual. While Tubbo and Jack didn't have the best MCC 20, they've also shown convincing performances, such as Tubbo in MCC 15 and MCC 18 getting top 10, and Jack in MCC 16 never leaving the top 20. This team is full of surprises and could realistically place anywhere. While at first look the Blue Bats placed below average the second highest number of times out of any team, it's important to note that it's not by much. In fact, while that's true, they're also the team that has the second highest worst game. This means that they are unlike a lot of teams. Getting a particular game played late won't be devastating for them. What's really important is getting their best game played late. To get to the other side makes or breaks this team. They are undoubtedly the best in the event at it, scoring over 250 more coins than the second place team on average. A lot of this can be attributed to Purple, who has an insanely good first to get to the other side, getting third, therefore making him the best player on average by a good amount, but he's far from the only reason this team is that good at to get to the other side. In MCC 18, both Tubbo and 5UP got top 6, and Jack has gone on top 7th before. This is a very scary team in to get to the other side, and it's the only game they absolutely dominate. If to get to the other side isn't played, then our simulation says there's only one game order where they get top 4. However, if it's played as a finale, their chances jump up a large amount, getting to dodgeball over 25% of the time. This game is key to the Blue Bats' victory. It's hard to pick out one particular pair whose performance is vital to this team's success, as all of their placements have varied wildly, with the exception of Purple, who has only played in one event. One thing that's important to note about this team though is the snowball effect. For both Jack and Tubbo, if they start out hot, then their placement at the end will probably also be high. In Jack's case, the best example of this is MCC 16. He did exceptional in the first 2 games, landing him at 2nd individual, and while towards the end he didn't do as well, he still had his best placement yet with a phenomenal performance. Tubbo's example is MCC 18, where his incredible leadership in grid runners kept his motivation for the entire tournament, landing him in 6th. Unfortunately, this is also the case the other way round. If Tubbo had a bad first couple games, it's hard for him to come back, and in recent events Jack has been the same. The secret for this team to do well is to start off hot, so doing well in a game they expected themselves to do badly at would be extremely beneficial. If we look at the distributions, we can see that Blue can come in a large range of places, but never 10th, due to the lack of a truly terrible game. And there's still a lot of game orders where they can land themselves in dodgeball, and these simulations are just their average. Every player on this team could easily do way better than expected, and so in reality their chances could be even higher. If they get to the other side late and start off hot, it would not be a surprise in the slightest to see this team take the crown. The Purple Pandas. Our next team, the Purple Pandas, is more of an unexpected team, but that's not to say they can't do well. While it's primarily a Dream SMP team, it uses some more of the lesser known members on it, with 3 of Purple's members being Puns, Awesome Dude and Ponk. The 4th member of this team is of course Mr. Event Organizer himself, Scott Major, who's proven that he can fit in with teammates from a variety of communities. Interestingly though, none of these members on this team have teamed before with any of the others before, meaning we're getting 6 new duos and a whole new team type with this team. That doesn't mean they'll do badly though, as statistically this is one of the strongest teams in the event, and while they're one of the strongest, they're also one of the most inconsistent, with them doing insane at some games while flopping in others. So just because Purple are one of the teams predicted to place well this MCC, doesn't mean they shouldn't be worried about the game order. A bad game order can take them from a dominant first place all the way down to 2nd to last. Purple's best games, and thus ones that should certainly be played with a high multiplayer, are survival games, Puns and Sam's best games, and Sands of Time, Ponk and Scott's best games, and Sam's second best. Moving to the flip side, games that should be avoided like the plague for Purple are Hole in the Wall and Ace Race, which, while good for Puns, are both Sam and Punk's worst 2 games, which is enough to make them Purple's overall worst. Now let's take a second to hone in on Purple's best games, survival games. They have an incredible average of 1,347 unmultiplied coins in it, the second highest game score this MCC, only behind Aqua's Sands of Time. They also win this game by a long shot, with Yellow trailing over 100 coins behind. As said before, it's crucial for Purple to get this game played, preferably in the second half, and optimally as yet another SG finale. Without survival games played, Purple's chances of reaching dodgeball fall by 40%. There are a multitude of reasons why survival games is so good for this team, but a big one is thanks to Puns and Awesome Dude. Puns has consistently dominated at survival games, with him doing extremely well in MCC's 14 to 16 and MCC 19. Sam's high score on the other hand is more due to his so insane performance in MCC 19, meaning that these averages could be overinflated a bit. Ponk and Scott don't have the high scores that their other 2 teammates have, although they don't do badly either, with Scott scoring just above average and Ponk just below. So although Purple's SG scores may be inflated by Sam, under the strong leadership of Puns and alongside other capable PvPers, there's potential for Sam to live up to his average and for him and the entire team to pull off an insane performance. Purple's inconsistency means there are game orders that place them all the way from 1st to 9th, although ones placing them lower are extremely rare. We also see that Purple are by far the most dominant team this MCC, with a 44% chance to get first and a 64% chance to make it to dodgebolt, so expect a spectacular performance from them on the day of MCC. The Pink Parrots. The final team in the event brings together the Origins SMP trio of Ranboo, WilburSoot and Thrinac. This is not this trio's first time teaming together. They were joined by Captain Smarkles in MCC 18 on the Cyan Centipedes. This team tragically placed 3rd, continuing the captain's curse, and making Ranboo narrowly miss dodgebolt yet again. However, to break this streak, the team is joined by GeorgeNotFound, a 2-time winner and one of the few players to win back-to-back MCCs. This team is a solid dodgebolt contender, and might just be the team to get Ranboo his first ever win. This team's best game is BattleBox, where they average 1,334 coins, the best in the event by over 100 coins. BattleBox is Sneak and George's best game, and Ranboo's second best after Hole in the Wall, with Wilbur coming in about average. In fact, the last time Sneak played BattleBox, his team managed to get a perfect 9 out of 9 wins, with 4 kills in every round, the highest BattleBox score of all time. If BattleBox is not in the rotation or is skipped, Pink's chances at dodgebolt go from above 30% to 10%. If this team wants to make dodgebolt, a good BattleBox is a must. To contrast, one game this team definitely wants to avoid is Rocket Spleef Rush. They have the second worst Rocket Spleef average in the event, only narrowly outplacing Green. While Wilbur and Ranboo both have solid Rocket Spleef scores, George and Sneak do not. Rocket Spleef has been the worst game for every member of the Dream Team throughout all of Season 1, and since none of them played in MCC 20, we have yet to see if Rocket Spleef Rush is any different. Sneak also has only played Rocket Spleef Rush once, and played it a bit too safe. Sneak netted 0 kills and died to an Elytra glitch in round 3, making this his lowest average by far. Still, if George adapts to the new mechanics added in Season 2 and Sneak improves from his first performance, this game may not be quite as bad as it seems statistically. Ranboo is going to have a good event. Since MCC 17, Ranboo has been on a mainstay in the top 15 and a constant threat for the top 10, with an especially incredible performance in MCC 19 where he placed 4th overall. Ranboo is an incredible team game and movement player, and this team definitely plays to those strengths, while also showing up some of his weaknesses in PvP. If this team wants to make dodgebolt, Ranboo having a strong event and placing in the top 10 is vital, and this team is the perfect situation to allow him to do so. This team has a very solid chance to make dodgebolt, with them breaking Ranboo's streak of near misses in about 30% of our simulations. However, their distribution is very all over the place, and they could easily end up anywhere from 1st to 7th. This team should have good chemistry, solid placements, and a chance at finally getting Ranboo his coin.